Hello everyone, welcome to the mysterious case that I am drawn to you. You know what? There are always reminders around us. It's about being careful with your social media relationships. In mid-2010 in Singapore, a woman who is married, I met a man through the internet. The conversation between them quickly became intimate, and only after a month, they both decided to meet in real life. They're dating as a couple, go out to eat and enjoy the stealthy moments full of passion. The man knows you are married, but only after a few weeks, they decided to spend the night at the hotel. What surprised you the most, though? It was the lover's strange offer. Can my husband join us? This question makes the woman feel uncomfortable and immediately refused. Not long after, she cut off contact and ended the affair. I believe that everything will be forgotten. But you don't know. It's all a trap set by your husband. And this is just the beginning of the nightmare. It lasted for 8 years. So what happened, after all? This case shocked Singapore, and keep the identities of those involved because privacy laws are very strict. Let's start with a 4-year-old man named Jay. In 2008, Jay was 2 or 7 years old and his wife was 1 year younger. They have 4 lovely daughters. On the surface, it looks like a happy family, but few expected. Behind that kind appearance is a terrifying secret. Playing frequently visited an illegal forum. On the outside, this forum is a place to discuss hot topics, but there's actually an underworld inside, full of illegal activities. A year after marriage, his wife became pregnant with their first child. This should be good news. But Jay doesn't give that excitement to his wife. It turns my attention to another woman. Jay's betrayal was quickly discovered by his wife. This shock caused you great pain. Maybe it's because of the baby in the womb. I decided to forgive you. But this pain has never really gone away. Since then, whenever there's been an argument, Jay's wife brings up the old story in a hysterical manner. Then one day she spoke directly to her husband. If you can lie to me, I can do the same. Those words are like a knife in the game. He began to doubt that his wife would actually betray him. As the doubt grows, I decided to show my wife a video. It shows 2 men with the same woman, and asked her what she thought about trying that experience. But Jay's response was anger and disgust from his wife. She scolded him so badly that he was both embarrassed and severed hopes. I can't accept being disrespected by my wife. Show up his underground forum vent. He complains that his wife is growing apart. She even suspects she's having an extramarital affair. Below the post, a series of people responded. They even give toxic advice. There was a hint that caught Jay's attention. Set up a sweet trap for your wife to enter. You will no longer have to live in doubt. In fact, in some countries, it's just a little bit of money. You can hire someone to test your loyalty, who specialize in reaching people online to see if they fall. If successful, they will send the whole conversation as evidence. However, these experiments only stopped online, and there's no direct contact. But that's not enough for Jay. He wants to take things further. On the forum, Jay knows a man named O. The two quickly found agreement because they share a special interest. Talk about each other's lovers. Europe then became Jay's ideal partner for a special reason. He owns a BMW. Jay is obsessed that his wife is materialistic. My ex-wife also drives a BMW, and Jay believes that only a man with a luxury car, your wife, will be easily attracted. So Jay agreed to let her approach his wife. Jay took the initiative to provide Choa's wife's contact information. Ask him to approach you and try to seduce you. As soon as you accept the offer, I immediately created a new social media account, Press Trend, to approach Jay's wife. Thanks for researching you before. Quick grasp of the psyche. Use secret words to gain trust. Throughout the process, put the report back. Jay was detailed about the conversation. A month later, in the 17th of August 2010, Jay and his wife meet in person for the first time. They met at a park. Enjoy a romantic dinner together. 2 weeks later, on September 2nd, they met again, this time in the East Sea for lunch. And then we went to the hotel together. Initially, he still reports Jay about the appointment, but there's no mention of spending the night with his wife. It is not clear whether he really has feelings for Jay's wife, or he's just playing a game of chess. But from there I started lying. He told Jay that his wife is no longer interested in infidelity, and they stopped communicating. But in fact, they're completely different. This relationship continues even more intensely. Wife Jay and Europe regularly text surreptitiously secretly for the next 2 months without Jay knowing. 26/10 Trade takes wife to Marina Basin Hotel, a famous 5-star hotel in Singapore. He said he wanted to rest with his wife, enjoy a relaxing day to warm up. But actually, his real purpose is completely different. When your wife goes to the bathroom, Jay quickly checks the phone. The messages on it stunned him. He realized that Europe had betrayed him. After my wife came out of the bathroom, doesn't talk about the message right away with a question. A neighbor told me that. I saw you holding a man's hand and join him at the hotel. Can you explain it? Jay's wife did not deny it and frankly admitted to having an affair. However, she insisted that it was over. The reason is because of nature. There was once the Kia lover asked Jay to come and play the game together. Jay's wife was disgusted by this thought. Should terminate contact. He even deleted his social media accounts. Accept the explanation and forgive your wife. The wind in the family seemed to calm down, but what the trade wife doesn't know is that it's all in your husband's hands. The more you can't believe. My husband keeps in touch with Europe and we're working on a new plan. Jay tells Europe that plans have changed. This time he wanted to see his wife, me and Europe together. The 14th of March 2011, Jay and his wife celebrate 3 years together. There have been many events in marriage. Jay's wife still thinks it's finally over, so she drank her glass of wine in relief. But she didn't know Jay had secretly quit. When the drug works, she feels dizzy and quickly fall into a trance. Then immediately trade message until arrive. When arrive, help him put his wife to bed. Then cover your eyes in the room in case you wake up in the middle. Standing beside me looking at the scene in has front a high feeling. It's not real and it makes him very excited. Since that time Jay couldn't stop. He started up the forums to look for more men with common interests, expanding the lover swap network. Not long after, a man named M appeared. M is older than JBI, is a shareholder of a company. M expressed his desire to have sex with his wife. Jay kept using the old trick. He puts drugs into his wife's alcohol and lets him commit sexual assault. But this time Jay wasn't just watching, but back to the whole process. After that event, more and more people the group were on the show. Its desire to participate. They even formed their own group to talk about it. Then another man named K appeared. Then K is 28, working in the field of business development, married but no children. He and Jay take things to the next level. It's made crime more organized and sophisticated. They started using a very powerful sedative. Let your wife drink. This drug is colorless and odorless. It works fast. The victim loses consciousness in a short period of time. However, this use can lead to death. But in the eyes of these sick people, it's the perfect tool, because when they wake up, the victim doesn't remember anything. Jay and K even install hidden cameras in the hidden corners of his house. They go back to their wife's abuse to share it with each other, even live streaming on the network of team members. These women, in the very house they think is the safest place, they become victims of their own husbands. Head incubation hand pillow. On a day in 2010, I used drugs that make my wife fall in love and then cover her eyes and call Jay for current the 6th forced while he's standing next to me taking pictures. That same year they did the same thing. This time Jay continues to attack K's wife. Until February 2013, Trade wife felt unwell on a special occasion. Trade pretended to care and gave her drugs to drink. But he's just trying to make you lose consciousness. And then K comes and continues to do the VI. For them, the wife is no longer a partner. It's just a satisfaction tool. They're starting to think about expanding the group. Invite more people to join. K even told Jay, if we can get them pregnant, it's even more exciting. They both text separately to make fun of the abused women. In their eyes, women, no matter how smart, will eventually be subdued. Don't stop. Trade doesn't just invite men to your house to take advantage of opportunities to attack the wives of other members in the group. Remember the character M? Taking advantage of the desk, M brings his ex-wife to Jay's house and gives her drugs. When M's ex-wife loses consciousness, he held her tight so that Jay performed VI. Previous Jay pre-enabled hidden camera for live streaming on the members follow along. After the commission of the crime, Trade retains her wife's underwear as a gift to a team member. The recipient of the gift is a a man who works in the same field of business development. Is married and has 3 children. 2013, Jay continues drugging his wife. Call A to abuse you? When the whole family is asleep, he goes back to the whole process and store video as shared evidence in groups. There is a career of a called P. They also engage in nasty exchanges. Tuesday, August 19, 2017, he poured drugs into alcohol that made his wife lose consciousness. And then he texted P, "My wife is ready for you." Pi is very excited because this guy has also seen photos and videos related to Africa. But this is the first time he's been directly involved. At dawn on the first day of September, Pi arrived at that time his wife was lying blindfolded, unconscious in bed. Pi starts touching her body, but due to physiological problems he couldn't actually. That's when her wife suddenly woke up. She jerked blindfolded and I saw a strange man standing in front of me. Pi is in a hurry to get dressed. After calming down, a wife immediately interrogated her indisputably husband. A forced confession in its entirety. Indignant and disgusted wife. He forced both perverts to write confessions. After the incident was uncovered, the entire 8-year-long crime has shocked public opinion. Innocent women raped by many men. Over and over again. Their photos and videos were leaked. The nature of this is too cruel. It shocked the whole society. Even in front of the court, he still does not fully admit his guilt. He tried to blame everything on his wife. When he went to court, he bowed his head slowly as if drowning in deep regret. But his testimony is the opposite. He admitted to raping the wives of 2 other men, but make sure you don't really want to. He said it was all a show of friendship with those guys. Jay also thinks he is different from other accomplices and he doesn't want trial with them. Jay then married his wife who had an affair twice, 2010 and 2014, as an excuse. He claims to have been ridiculed and humiliated by his wife so badly that he wanted revenge. But even if I say that, Jay confirmed he realized his mistake and want to receive punishment soon to atone. Fortunately, the judge was not moved by those words. I can't get sympathy from the court. God turned to the media. He thinks it's been overblown by the press. And journalists are making their own points of view. It's unethical and unprofessional. He finds ways to blame others, but never admitted to his perversion and malice. He even thought that the news media and the netizens talk. It made his wife's life difficult. But maybe Jay's forgotten something important. He is the one who causes the pain, the biggest risk to your wife. When all the excuses don't work, Trade continues to refer to psychiatric evaluation in which he was diagnosed with a sexual disorder. He even claimed that his wife had forgiven him. But the fact that the investigation report shows at the time of the crime, Trade fully awake and with sufficient cognitive ability. So this can't be a reason to downplay. Jay's wife's psychological report suggests you suffered so much pain. At first, she thought she was just being raped, but after the truth came out, she realized that she had become a victim of many men, and images of the assault are also circulating online. Before the shock was so great, her mind was almost paralyzed. Maybe to protect yourself from the pain, her brain activates self-defense mechanisms. It makes you feel nothing about what happened. You only want one thing. We can continue to take care of you and your family. Another victim shared the same pain. After learning the truth, she wanted to kill herself. You have to fight a lot to be able to control emotions and keep living. The judge finally handed down a severe sentence with the perverts who joined Jay. Jay was sentenced to 29 years in prison. His accomplice helped Jay rape his wife and assaulted her. 22 years I. Who drugged his ex-wife and helped Jay commit 25L. Cho's wife was raped and agreed to let his wife be raped. 13 years of Pi. He tried to hurt his wife but failed. He said he was in the house for 8 minutes. And act because I assured everything is fine. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted rape. End up being the youngest unmarried. I also tried to get my sentence reduced. He has no wife, but the court did not approve. He received 18 years. He is the only one among the defendants. Choose how to fight the charges. He tried to prove that Jay slandered him after discovering his wife was having an affair. During the interrogation, there's been a lot of confusion and a lot of conflicting testimony. When asked, why did you accept Jay's request to touch his wife? Europe can't give an explanation. He just said he didn't know what to do, so pretend to follow. But in fact, right before Europe came to Jay's house. The two had secretly discussed the drug plan beforehand. It's clear they planned it together. In addition, Europe has violated the trade wife. The two of you are always talking in private about your depraved thoughts. The 30th of January 2020 for sentence to 13 years. The funny thing is, Jay also pleaded not guilty and decided to appeal. He has two reasons. First, his wife wants him home. And second, his original lawyer didn't do a very good job. It's an unbelievable myth. At the JA trial, carrying letters from four daughters, in which are testimonies of moral character. However, these letters were not read publicly in court. Jay's mother and sister also sent a letter asking for relief. In the letter, Mother Chai described, "My son is a very kind man to his wife. Even without money, he never asked his family to provide for him. She begged the court for clemency, so that the whole family can be reunited as soon as possible. Listened, but Jay's crime is very serious. Even if you understand the mother's heart, we can't mitigate that punishment." The court rejected the appeal. In the end, there are unjustifiable sins. There are wounds that can't be erased. Once the conscience is dead, there's only cruelty left. This case is evidence of a bitter truth. Sometimes the most evil people are not strangers. It's the people we trust the most. In life, forgiveness cannot be an excuse to commit a crime. Trust should not be placed on those who do not deserve it. Here's the whole story of this shocking case. If you have any thoughts, please comment below. Thank you. Hi. See you later. If you are a detective fan, you're probably going to see serial killers. Most of them are men. The motives for murder are varied. However, there are also many female serial killers. Most of them kill for money, and others have personality disorders. Antisocial. The people they target are usually lovers or husband, and the method of murder is poisoning. But everything has an exception. There will definitely be women who don't. That kills with strange motives, and the main character in today's incident is a very typical example. She's gone into the criminal history of the former Soviet Union as one of the most vicious serial killers. Her case wasn't just shocking because of the number of victims, because of sick motives and cold killing methods. There's an interesting fact more than 20,000 criminals in the old Soviet period. There are only 3 women. One is Antonia Makarov. 3 traitors in World War II. Killed hundreds of people. Another is a businessman, Besta Borisina, charged with appropriation of property. 7 escape a huge amount of national money. And the third person is the character in this story, Act Nova, Eva Nuntina, also known as Tamara Malesko. Tobota Mesko born a ripe for one, the 4th child in a family, including parents and 6 children. Family of 8 people, living in a shabby apartment in a dormitory, crowded and noisy. The people who live here are poor neighbors. Not very friendly either, often because of trivialities that conflict. Manchester is in a similar situation. For these contradictions, the Manchester couple did not want to fight. Neighbor, I didn't find the police or a mediator to deal with that. They chose a much more exotic alternative. Kill people who make them uncomfortable. At that time, toxic substances were highly regulated by the state. Got it? Chlorine solution from a relative working at the Geological Agency in Ukraine. This material is often used to check the thickness of minerals. After getting chlorine, Tamara immediately shakes hands and make poisonous cakes for the neighbors to eat. The reason is that these people are too loud to bother their house. The 2 men then used the same method. He banged an old woman after she got dirty, not cleaning the toilet. There was a time when Tombara's mother suddenly fell ill and was admitted to the hospital. Not understanding, so instead of comforting, this person said something a little hard to hear. The treatment is almost impossible. Instead, prepare for the funeral. These words are like a curse. Makes Tombara very angry, but he didn't show it right away. Instead, he asked his cousin to drink, drinking for comfort. The relative is, I can't predict that I will get revenge. I'm also happy to agree. At the wine table, Daddy Tamara banging an egg, and strangely, that egg immediately turns black, even though it looks strange. But this relative, after drinking, still eat that egg, because I don't want to waste food. The funeral finally took place. Those who are buried are not Tombara's mother. It's a relative visiting you. Even though many neighbors whose loved ones died in Tombara's parents have never been suspected. They don't care about their children either. maybe know something. They even use the cases they've committed to teach the children. Tell them, there are only two most important things in this world. The first is property. The second is to kill those who bother you. And the fourth daughter of the Mashlenko family, Tambara Mashlenko, is the successor to these ideas. The best. Inheriting your parents' ideal life. Tambara has had a dream since childhood. It's buying a black Volga for 20,000 groups. In her eyes, that car was a symbol of wealth. The Volga in the Soviet Union was one of the most expensive cars. The income of a worker for 15 years. Don't eat, don't drink, just make pants. The black Volga. It's also associated with a famous urban legend around the year 60 that this is a car used to kidnap children. They are often found in rich Western countries and the Arab countries. According to different versions of this legend, the owner of the car could be a priest, a Jew, a vampire, a Satanist, or even Satan. This legend is so famous in the Soviet Union. Maybe it's because of the mystery that it brings. I wanted to own a black Volga. In fact, during the time when the Soviet Union was only used as a government car, it's never been sold to civilians. Back then, Soviet people used to think of trade and food. It's an area where they can make a lot of money to feed themselves. The Tambara family is no exception. Get the car you've been dreaming of for a long time. She chose by trade. However, Tambara was caught selling counterfeit goods, although not in prison, but he left his criminal record on his resume. At that time, women with criminal records have almost no chance of finding a job. After a period of 7 failures, Tambara gradually found the easiest and fastest way to be able to achieve success. She noticed that her husband was making money. The wife spends money faster than she earns it herself. So she rejected a beautiful but poor young man and decided to marry a rich man. That's Nikolai, truck driver of a cross-border transportation company. Very good income and already owns a 2-bedroom apartment. When married, Tambara's parents have prepared for her daughter's dowry. In particular, she didn't just learn selfishness from her parents, but also learned their murder tricks. Learned to race with the action. From the first days as a bride, Tamara started poisoning her husband. Every day she cooks. Don't forget to put a little poison in your food. Waiting patiently for her husband to die so she can inherit the property. The health of Nikolai is getting worse and worse. I feel my legs getting weaker and the constant pain. Tormented hair begins to fall out. I finally couldn't stand it and died. The doctor didn't notice the strange symptoms that just hastily diagnosed Nikolai dead of a heart attack. The second marriage. During the first marriage, Tambara enlisted when her husband went to travel to many cities. Finally, she chose Kyiv as her next destination. After arriving at the place where the Tambara met a man named Old Ivanovich. Old is also very proactive, pursue Tambara. And finally, the two of you are officially in love, and there's passionate love. Old is 7 years younger than Tambara. He doesn't have a house, but his parents are still rich. Fit the criteria of choosing Tambara's husband. 1908. Old parents moved to Kyiv and buy a house here. This house is not a no house, but very cozy and comfortable. The most important thing is, old parents also bought more land next door and a cage. Tambara loves this property of her husband's family. She thought if her husband would inherit this property, she can make a pig farm for a living. This idea made her very excited, but let her husband quickly inherit the property. Your parents need to die. But at the time, it was just a thought. She hasn't thought of a time yet, specific way and cause to act, but very quickly after that, the reason for doing it came to her. After marriage, Tambara's mother-in-law desperately wants you and took Rose's birthright to intimidate. Without children, there is no home. This gave Tambara the intention to kill. Year 198, Tambara decides to target her first father-in-law. Her father-in-law is in very good health, but thanks to the daughter-in-law's meticulous care, he often felt numbness and pain in his legs. After the examination, the doctor diagnosed him with arthritis and advised him to go home and rest. Tambara pretending, I am very worried about my father's health. Encourage your husband to visit you. At dinner, she carefully uses a spoon to give her father-in-law soup. The poor old man, without a doubt, he praised his daughter-in-law for being understanding and thoughtful. Compliment my daughter-in-law not that very night. He got into an ambulance and died in the hospital. Tambara acted very skillfully, so a one AI suspect. At the funeral, her mother-in-law wept bitterly. Tamara immediately brought her a glass of wine. That it's the kind of alcohol that calms people down. But after drinking, My mother-in-law felt nauseated and also named Tom Barra for poisoning Silver. Now a woman attending the funeral from a distance stood up. He said he saw Tom Barra take out a strange bottle and pour something into the wine. Tom Barra explained that it's a sedative. My mother-in-law is dying next to me. She made people doubt what she said. The atmosphere is getting more and more tense. Tom Barra pretended to be angry because people accidentally broke the bottle in his hand. Until Old stands out protecting Tom Barra, tension settles. But then Tom Barra's mother-in-law had a headache, leg pain, quadriplegic paralysis, died not long after. Two couples tell everyone, my mother-in-law died of old age and missed me. The husband is dead. After 3 cases, Tom Barra was very confident that she would not be questioned, so she started targeting her own husband. Tom Barra begins to surreptitiously add toxins, silently waiting for death. After her parents died, Tom Barra persuaded Old to move into their home. Moved in not long ago, she rushed to build a pig farm. First to have feed for pigs. 2 people come to the cafeteria, a local school, to buy leftovers, but the constant purchase of leftovers, it's not the solution, because it costs too much, while the average pig need 2 to 3 kilograms of food per day. Tragedy at school. Tom Barra has found enough ways to increase income and reduce expenses. With the criminal record she's had a lot of trouble. In September of the year 1986, Tom Barra used fake papers to ask for a foot wash work at the canteen, a school in Kip. Salary doesn't matter to her. It's important to be able to bring the leftovers back to the pigs. This school has 800 students, and the amount of food left over a day can be up to 40 kilograms. But Tom Barra's work didn't go as planned. Because of our selfish nature, not doing my job well, that she's won over a lot of people in the cafeteria. Not only that, but she's always complaining, cooks and says absurd words to students and teachers. School. To bring back a lot of leftovers for pigs, Tom Barra regularly unplugged the refrigerator, let the food inside break down. It seems she wants to steal all the food at school. For the AI that's trying to take the leftovers away, she won't hesitate to make it easy. There was a day, 2 students invite each other to bring leftovers and meat for dogs. Tom Barra yelled at me when she saw it, given that the children's actions are against their rights. The next day she was even more silent. Put poison on your plate. Fortunately, the dose of the toxin is very small, and after being treated at the hospital, you quickly recovered. About Tom Barra's ridiculous and bad handling, principal and nutritionist at the school frequently rebuked and wanted essay to fire her. But it didn't work. The salary of the 8-year-old is too low. Heavy work. No one else wants to take this job for Tom Barra. Principals and nutritionists, it's the people who are responsible. They usually have lunch at the canteen and check regularly to make sure the staff is in correct standard. This worries Tom Barra, because if every meal is served properly, the amount of food left over will be reduced not enough for pigs to eat. Sometime later, these 2 managers feel that their health is very poor. But when I went to the hospital, we can't find the cause. At the end of the year 986, the principal died suddenly. 1987 after the school celebrated 8/3. The key nutritionist. He was also admitted to the emergency hospital. She told the doctor she couldn't control her limbs, body aches. After diagnosing her, the doctor said she had heart failure. Trying to do everything, her condition is still getting worse, and died soon after. 3 weeks later, on May 2nd, 7 a year, the ambulance bell echoed again in the school. More than 10 students and staff were admitted with the same symptoms. Doctors diagnosed them with infectious flu. This misdiagnosis led to the deaths of 2 children and 2 adults, after a very short time in the hospital. Until now, the police began to notice irregularities at the school. The investigation. The police have called in virus and epidemiology to study the reason. After much discussion, experts say it's an atypical form of flu. It's very dangerous. In the process of discussion, the police have made many theories, even checked for radiation levels in the school. In the end, because I didn't find anything, the investigators, I decided to talk to the survivors. The results show all the victims that day. We all had a late lunch at the canteen, including porridge, buckwheat and chicken, while those who arrive eat on time. There's no problem. The police suspect, maybe it's rat poison or insecticides of cockroaches that have entered the food. The question is whether this was an accident or someone poisoned it. The police began to conduct searches, interrogation at the school. In one inspection, when the police want to call a nutritionist, they just found out she passed away 3 weeks ago. Her symptoms, it's identical to the symptoms of the previous group of victims. The police acted quickly, request an autopsy. The nutritionist's body was sent to be examined, and after comparing, they discovered she's got the same marks on her as the victims. Tamara, as a canteen worker, he was one of the first to be interrogated. Now the police noticed that she ate very aggressively, refused to cooperate in any way to hinder the inspection of the kitchen. He even tried to push the police out of the kitchen. This unusual act attracts attention. After investigating Tambara's the police found out she had a criminal record. And I also noticed that people died one after another. The situation of Olad's is also getting more serious. His symptoms, same with the victims in the school: fever, nausea, pain, bone loss. Fortunately, Tambara still hasn't had time to give Old enough poison. The police quickly arrested him to lift the veil of truth. Like all other criminals who get caught, the camera denies all allegations, but all the evidence points to her as the killer. After searching the camera's house, the police found a small bottle of liquid next to the sewing machine. The camera said it was motor oil left behind by her mother-in-law, but the test results showed it's a powerful poison, killed 9 people. If Tambara is merely a washerate, she has no reason to use it. Before the hard evidence, Tamara was forced to admit everything. During the interrogation, she's not hiding. It's telling the police how you poison people. It's actually poisonous. Originally prepared only for nutritionists. After the nutritionist died, canteen enhanced management. The manager locked the door and carried the key with him. The camera is not free to enter. She decided to solve this problem quickly. One day, she injected poison into the dish and gave it to the manager. But that person doesn't eat. Tabata is not content to make a new plan. She knew the manager was going to a meeting and will be late for lunch. So that day she injected poison into the leftovers. But the manager didn't come to the canteen. It's a teacher and her students clearing chairs and ate that non-toxic food. Tambara just sat there watching. Shortly after Tambara was arrested, the geological agency provided for the solution containing poison. He was also arrested by the police in the year 976. That's 11 years. This man gave it to Tambara's parents. About half a liter of solution containing poison. According to this man, the Master family has repeatedly asked him to provide a solution to kill mice. After a clue, the police quickly arrested the Master and his wife. They soon arrested their other daughter, Reason, as well as Tamara. This girl poisoned her 69-year-old husband. Before the Master's wife was arrested, they're trying to poison a disabled neighbor because she got a bigger pension than they did. Tambara's mother just made this old lady a poison cake. Fortunately, she didn't eat. Because Tambara's crimes were exposed, she took precautions and threw her cat a cake. I'm sure everyone knows the cat is dead. The cake was eventually seized by the police for inspection and become evidence. Results show in the last 11 years Master House poisoned at least 40 people. 13 people died there. The couple was sentenced to 13 years and 15 years, but neither of them could live to execute. Daughter Linda spent 15 years in prison, and after getting out, she's cut off all ties to the past, completely out of everyone's sight. And Tambara, she doesn't believe she'd be punished and want to bribe. The police promised to give them a large amount of gold. They helped her escape the punishment of the law. Of course, she never had a chance. Year 197, courts find Tambara guilty of 20 poisoning cases, 9 of which were fatal. This year the death penalty was carried out. Some people might think it's ridiculous when you're just raising pigs and working hard all day and then kill again just to bring leftovers back to the pigs. But given the timing of the case, we can understand something. After the Cold War began, the Soviet Union and the United States, plus the wrong decisions of senior leadership, that caused the national economy of the former Soviet Union People's lives are more difficult than ever. More and more broken families, more and more poor living people. In such a poor society, the family often has to move. They went to Uzbekistan. Kyrgyzstan in general is heard. Where you make money, you don't go there. Father of Tambara, for not making enough money and not having a stable place to live. Eventually the whole family had to live in a rented house. Noise from TV, noise from neighbors, cold words from relatives. When neighbors make money, all the little details in life, they create a huge disturbance in the house. In a poor life, money comes first. So the idea of valuing money, it has a profound impact on every member of this family. But due to lack of understanding, they went in the wrong direction. Children are the mirror of their parents, and it's clear that the Marshlandko's education was flawed. It negatively affects the children, especially Tombara. Material poverty and spiritual deprivation not just make Tamara's parents feel inferior, it also makes them in the habit of blaming others. Try to prove your worth by taking the lives of others. Most female serial killers kill their lovers or my husband to usurp money, insurance, or property. Tamara is different. She wants to make a living my own hands through raising pigs. Although later to raise pigs, she's also taken the wrong path. And that's today's case. Do you have any thoughts? Please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hi. See you later.